The massive alien ship appeared over New York without warning. It hung in the sky like a polished silver disk, its surface gleaming in the morning sun. Within hours, the Galactic Council's representatives had requested a meeting with Earth's military leaders at the United Nations headquarters. Admiral James Miller stood tall as he entered the conference room, his decorated uniform neat and pressed. Next to him walked General Mark Thompson and Admiral Lisa White, their faces set in professional masks. The room fell silent as three alien representatives entered from the opposite door. The aliens looked almost human, except for their blue-tinted skin and slightly larger eyes. The lead representative, who called himself High Commander Taylor, spoke first in perfect English. "We have observed your civilization for some time," Taylor said, his voice smooth and confident. "We believe Earth is ready to join the Galactic Council. However, there are certain requirements." Admiral Miller nodded politely. "We're listening." Taylor activated a holographic display, showing various human weapons, rifles, tanks, artillery, and missiles. These primitive projectile weapons must be replaced. The Council only permits energy-based weapons for civilized species. General Thompson's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. "With respect," Admiral White said, "our weapons have served us well for centuries." Taylor laughed, a sound like tinkling glass. "Allow us to demonstrate real weapons." He pressed a button on his wrist device. Outside the building, a small drone appeared. It fired a beam of purple energy at an old tank that had been placed in the demonstration area. The tank's metal surface rippled and dissolved, leaving nothing but a puddle of molten steel. "Impressive," Admiral Miller said carefully. "But your bullets and explosives are toys compared to our technology," the second alien, who called himself Officer Reed, interrupted. "Proper civilizations use energy weapons and shields. Your projectile weapons are barely better than throwing rocks." The third alien nodded in agreement. "The Council's decision is final. Earth must disarm its primitive weapons and adopt our approved technology if you wish to join galactic society." Admiral Miller exchanged glances with his colleagues. "And if we refuse?" Taylor's expression hardened. "Then Earth will be isolated. No trade, no cultural exchange, no access to advanced technology. You will be alone in the galaxy." The human leaders requested time to discuss the matter privately. In a separate room, they gathered around a table. "They're underestimating us," General Thompson said quietly. "Did you see how they sneered at our weapons?" Admiral White nodded. "They think technology only counts if it glows purple and makes humming sounds. History has taught us that underestimating any weapon is dangerous," Admiral Miller said, his eyes distant. "The simplest stone can kill if thrown hard enough. These aliens, they've forgotten that basic truth." When they returned to the conference room, Admiral Miller addressed the Council representatives. "We appreciate your offer," he said carefully, "but we cannot simply abandon our existing defense systems. Perhaps we could discuss a gradual transition." "Unacceptable," Taylor cut him off. "You have one Earth month to begin the disarmament process. After that, we will take steps to ensure compliance." As the aliens left the room, Officer Reed turned back with a smirk. "Don't worry, primitives. Soon you'll understand how foolish those projectile weapons really are." The door closed behind them. Admiral Miller stared at the space where they had been, his expression thoughtful. "They're going to try to force the issue," General Thompson said quietly. Admiral Miller nodded. "Yes, they will. And they'll learn something our ancestors knew thousands of years ago." He turned to face his colleagues, his eyes steel hard. "It doesn't matter how advanced your armor is. A rock thrown hard enough will still leave a mark." Admiral White smiled grimly. "Should we begin preparations?" "Immediately," Miller replied. "Contact all major military powers. We need to be ready." He looked out the window at the alien ship still hovering over the city. "They think they're dealing with primitives who don't know any better. Let them think that, for now." As the three leaders left the conference room, none of them noticed the small smile on Admiral Miller's face. The aliens' arrogance about their technology would be their downfall. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones, a lesson humanity had learned through countless wars and conflicts. The Galactic Council had made their first major mistake. They had underestimated humanity's primitive weapons. They would soon learn that primitive didn't mean ineffective. Their second mistake would be giving Earth a month to prepare. 1 month passed too quickly. The alien ships appeared in orbit without warning, their silver hulls reflecting Earth's sunlight. There were 12 of them, each larger than any spacecraft humanity had ever built. Commander Robert Stone stood on the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's first true space warship. It had been constructed in secret years ago, hidden from the public until now. 5 more ships like it waited nearby, their crews tense but ready. "They're broadcasting," his communications officer reported. High Commander Taylor's face appeared on the main screen. "Your time is up. We see you've made no effort to disarm. The Council has authorized us to ensure compliance through force." Commander Stone squared his shoulders. "This is your only warning. Leave Earth's orbit immediately." The aliens' laugh echoed through the bridge. "You intend to fight us with those primitive ships. We scan no energy weapons. What do you hope to accomplish?" "You'll find out soon enough," Stone replied calmly. He cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. "Are the railguns ready?" "Yes, sir. All ships report weapons hot." The alien ships moved first, their energy weapons charging with a purple glow. Their shields shimmered into existence, creating what they believed was an impenetrable barrier. "They're not even trying to dodge," Stone's tactical officer noted. "They think their shields make them invulnerable." Stone allowed himself a small smile. "Fire the first salvo. Let's test their confidence." The railguns on Earth's ships roared to life. They fired simple tungsten rods, accelerated to incredible speeds by electromagnetic force. The aliens didn't even try to evade, believing their shields would easily deflect such primitive weapons. They were wrong. The kinetic projectiles passed straight through the energy shields, as if they weren't there. The aliens had designed their defenses to stop energy weapons, not solid objects moving at relativistic speeds. The first salvo tore through 3 alien ships, punching clean holes through their hulls. "Impossible." Taylor's voice boomed across the command channel. "Those are just metal projectiles." "Basic physics," Stone replied. "Your shields stop energy. Our weapons are just very fast rocks." The alien fleet scrambled to regroup, but they had never trained for this. Their tactics relied entirely on energy weapon exchanges, shields, and complex electronic warfare. They had no defense against simple kinetic weapons. More railgun shots found their marks. 2 more alien ships spun out of control, their hulls breached. The remaining ships tried to return fire, but Earth's vessels were already moving, using maneuvers practiced for centuries of naval warfare. "They're not used to actually having to aim," Stone's tactical officer reported. "Their targeting systems are designed for energy weapon exchanges." The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. Of the 12 alien ships that had arrived to force Earth's compliance, 7 were destroyed, 3 were crippled, and 2 fled into deep space. Earth's fleet had suffered only minor damage from the few lucky shots the aliens had managed to land. Commander Stone opened a channel to the damaged alien flagship. "Do you require assistance with rescue operations?" There was a long pause before Taylor responded, his voice much less confident now. You defeated our most advanced ships with primitive weapons." "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Stone replied. "We'll send rescue ships for your crews. Please instruct them not to resist." As Earth's rescue vessels moved to collect survivors, Stone received a message from Admiral Miller on the surface. "Well done, Commander," the Admiral said. "How did our ships perform?" "Better than expected, sir. Their shields were useless against kinetic weapons, just as we predicted. They've never had to defend against something as simple as a fast-moving piece of metal." The Council won't take this humiliation lightly, Miller warned. Stone nodded. No, they won't. But they'll have to completely rethink their approach. Everything they know about space combat assumes energy weapons and shields. They've forgotten the basics. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution, Miller said, echoing his words from a month ago. As Stone looked out at the debris field that had once been the alien fleet, he couldn't help but wonder what other primitive human technologies might surprise the Galactic Council. They had just learned an expensive lesson about underestimating humanity's ingenuity. And this was only the beginning. Dr. Helen Wright stood in her laboratory, examining the salvaged alien technology spread across her workbench. Pieces of energy weapons and shield generators lay next to human railgun components and conventional ammunition. The Council made one crucial mistake, she said to her team. They abandoned physical weapons entirely. They forgot that sometimes the old ways still work best. Her lead engineer, Tom Baker, picked up a damaged alien shield generator. Their shields are incredible technology. They can stop any energy weapon, but they're completely blind to normal matter. Exactly, Helen said, her eyes lighting up. So what if we combine both approaches? For weeks, they worked tirelessly. Other research teams around the world were doing the same, studying the alien technology recovered from the battle. But Helen's team had a different idea. Instead of trying to copy the alien tech, they wanted to improve human weapons using alien principles. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday morning. Helen was examining the way alien shields interacted with different materials when she noticed something strange. The shield didn't just ignore physical objects, it actually accelerated them. Look at this, she called to her team. She fired a small pellet at the shield generator. Instead of passing through normally, the pellet gained speed. The shield is adding energy to the projectile. Tom ran the numbers on his computer. If we could harness that effect, we could make our railguns twice as powerful. Better than that, Helen said, already sketching designs. We could create ammunition that uses their own shields against them. The next month was a blur of testing and development. They created new bullets that deliberately triggered shield responses, turning the aliens' defenses into weapons. They modified railguns to take advantage of shield energy patterns. Every failure taught them something new about how alien technology worked. Admiral Miller visited the lab to check their progress. He watched as Helen demonstrated their latest prototype, a railgun that fired specially designed shells. The first stage is a normal kinetic penetrator, she explained. It punches through the shield like before. But then, the secondary charge uses the shield's own energy to create a much bigger impact. They tested the weapon on a captured alien shield. The result was spectacular. Not only did the shell pierce the shield, but it created an explosion 5 times more powerful than a normal round. The aliens think they're above physical weapons, Tom explained. But we're proving that combining old and new technology can be more effective than either alone. Word of their success spread. Other research teams began sending their findings, and soon a new type of human military technology emerged. It wasn't purely physical like traditional weapons, nor was it purely energy-based like alien tech. It was something new, a hybrid that took advantage of both worlds. The Council won't expect this, Admiral Miller said, watching another successful test. They think we'll either stick to our primitive weapons or try to copy their technology. Helen nodded. That's their weakness. They see technology as a straight line, from primitive to advanced. They don't understand that real progress often means combining different approaches. As she spoke, reports came in from around the world. China had developed shield-piercing missiles. Russia had created artillery shells that used alien power systems. The European Union had built new fighter craft combining human and alien principles. How long until we can start production? Admiral Miller asked. The basic designs are ready now, Helen replied. We can begin upgrading our existing weapons immediately. But she paused, looking at her latest designs. This is just the beginning. Every day we learn more about how their technology works, and every day we find new ways to use that knowledge. Admiral Miller smiled. The Council thought they were giving us an ultimatum: abandon our old weapons or face isolation. Instead, they gave us exactly what we needed to make our primitive weapons even better. As he left the lab, Helen turned back to her workbench. New ideas were already forming in her mind. The aliens had spent centuries developing their technology in one direction only. Humanity, with its long history of adapting and combining different approaches, was about to show them what they'd been missing. The age of hybrid weapons had begun, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. The colony on Mars was humanity's first step into space settlement. Its dome-covered buildings gleamed under the red sky when the pirate ships appeared. They were a ragtag fleet, using outdated Council technology, thinking they had found an easy target. Captain Michael Torres watched them approach from the bridge of his patrol ship, the EDS Guardian. Two more Earth ships flanked him, their new hybrid weapons ready but hidden. "They're hailing us," his communications officer reported. The pirate leader appeared on screen, a reptilian alien with scurred scales. "This colony is now under our control. Your primitive defenses are no match for our ships. Surrender now." Torres kept his face neutral. "This is your only warning. Leave this system or face the consequences." The pirate laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. "You have no energy weapons. What will you do? Throw rocks at us?" "Something like that," Torres replied quietly, then cut the transmission. He turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Let's show them what these rocks can do." The pirates attacked first, their energy weapons lighting up space. Their shields flickered to life, the same technology that had failed against Earth's first counterattack months ago. They hadn't learned from the Council's mistake. "They're using standard attack patterns," Torres' tactical officer reported, "just like the Council ships." Torres nodded. "Fire the new hybrid rounds. Let's test Dr. Wright's latest upgrades." The Guardian's main gun fired. The new projectile looked simple, just a metal shell. But inside, it carried elements of both human and alien technology. As it hit the pirate's shield, it didn't just pass through. It used the shield's energy to power its own detonation. The explosion ripped through the pirate ship's hull, leaving a gaping hole. The pirates had never seen anything like it. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, were worse than useless against Earth's new hybrid technology. "Impossible." The pirate leader screamed over the command channel. "Those are just kinetic weapons." "Wrong," Torres replied calmly. "They're much more than that now." The battle was brutally short. 3 pirate ships destroyed, 2 captured, and 1 flowed into deep space. Torres knew that last ship would spread the word. Human colonies were not easy targets. "Search the captured ships," he ordered his crews. "I want to know where they came from and who sent them." The search revealed something interesting. In the pirate captain's quarters, they found orders, not from a pirate king, but from someone in the Galactic Council. Someone had wanted to test Earth's defenses. "They're still underestimating us," Torres said during his report to Earth Command. "They thought pirates with old Council technology could overwhelm us." Admiral Miller's hologram nodded. "This was a test. The Council wanted to see if our victory over their ships was just luck." "Well, they got their answer," Torres replied. "And now they know about our hybrid weapons too." "Good," Miller said. "Let them worry about what else we've developed." "How did the new ammunition perform?" "Better than expected. The pirates' shields actually made our weapons more effective. Dr. Wright's theories were correct. We can use their defensive technology to power our attacks." As cleanup crews worked to salvage the destroyed pirate ships, Torres received reports from his prisoners. The pirates were talking, amazed by what they'd seen. They'd expected to find a primitive colony protected by simple weapons. Instead, they'd encountered something they'd never seen before, technology that combined the best of both worlds. "Send word to all Earth colonies," Admiral Miller ordered. "More pirates might try their luck." Make sure everyone's ready. Torres looked out at Mars' red surface below. The colony there represented humanity's first step into space, but it wouldn't be the last. Despite the Council's attempts to isolate Earth, humans were pushing outward, protected by weapons that rewrote the rules of space combat. The pirates will spread the word, he said, just like the Council ships did. Soon, everyone will know. Earth's primitive weapons aren't so primitive anymore. As he spoke, his sensors detected the pirate ship that had escaped, jumping into deep space. It would carry tales of this battle to every corner of the galaxy. Human colonies would gain a new reputation, not as easy targets, but as places that pirates avoided at all costs. The Council's test had failed, and in failing, it had only made Earth stronger. The Galactic Council's central chamber buzzed with angry voices. Ambassador Thomas Reed stood calmly at the center, facing representatives from 100 alien species. The Council's massive chamber, with its towering crystal walls, was designed to make speakers feel small. But Reed stood tall. Earth's weapons development must stop, High Counselor Maxwell declared, his silver skin reflecting the chamber's lights. You are disrupting the balance of power in the galaxy. We are protecting ourselves, Reed replied evenly. After your failed attempt to force our disarmament, and the recent pirate attack that you orchestrated, what did you expect? Murmurs spread through the chamber. Not everyone had known about the Council's involvement with the pirates. Your primitive weapons were one thing, Maxwell continued, ignoring the whispers. But these new hybrid technologies, combining physical weapons with our advanced systems, this cannot be allowed. Reed smiled slightly. You gave us no choice. You tried to force us to abandon our technology. Instead, we improved it. A representative from a smaller world stood up. Is it true? She asked. Can your weapons really use our shields to increase their power? That's classified information, Reed responded, but his slight smile told them everything. More whispers filled the chamber. Several representatives were passing notes to each other. Reed had seen this before. The smaller worlds were already planning to secretly contact Earth. Maxwell slammed his hand on his podium. Earth must cease weapons development immediately. This is an order from the Galactic Council. Or what? Reed asked quietly. You'll send more ships, more pirates. We've proven we can defend ourselves. We'll impose sanctions, Maxwell threatened. Complete isolation. No world will trade with Earth. The chamber grew quiet. This was the Council's ultimate threat, complete economic and social isolation. But Reed didn't look worried. 3 worlds have already signed secret trade agreements with us, he announced. The chamber erupted in shock. They've seen what happened to your ships, to the pirates. They know we can protect them. Maxwell's silver skin darkened with anger. Which worlds? Name them. You know I won't, Reed replied. But I will say this. They're tired of the Council telling them what weapons they can and cannot use. They're tired of being defenseless against pirates because your precious energy weapons are too expensive for smaller worlds. More representatives were exchanging glances now. The smaller worlds had always struggled to afford the Council's approved weapons. Earth's hybrid technology offered them a cheaper, more effective alternative. This is your final warning, Maxwell declared. Stop weapons development, or face the consequences. Reed walked to the center of the chamber and looked up at the assembled representatives. No, he said simply. We will not stop protecting ourselves. We will not stop developing new technologies. And we will not stop sharing our developments with worlds that want to trade fairly with us. You'll start a war, Maxwell warned. No, Reed corrected him. You'll start a war, if you're foolish enough. And you've seen how the last 2 conflicts with Earth ended. As Reed turned to leave the chamber, a dozen representatives hurried to catch up with him. They wanted to arrange private meetings to discuss trade possibilities. Earth's demonstration of its new weapons had changed everything. Back in his office, Reed received a message from Earth Command. How did it go? Admiral Miller asked. Exactly as expected, Reed replied. The Council is losing its grip. Smaller worlds are tired of being bullied. Our hybrid weapons are just the excuse they needed to start looking for alternatives. And the Council's threats? Reed smiled. Empty. They know they can't enforce them. Too many worlds are already interested in trading with us. The Council's monopoly on advanced weapons is breaking down. Good, Miller said. Keep the diplomatic channels open. We prefer peace. But we'll be ready if they choose otherwise, Reed finished. As he looked out his window at the Council's gleaming capital city, Reed thought about how much had changed. The Council had tried to force Earth to abandon its primitive weapons. Instead, they had pushed humanity to create something new, something that was changing the balance of power in the galaxy. The Council's authority was crumbling, and they had no one to blame but themselves. The attack came at dawn. 50 Council warships appeared near Earth's orbit, led by High Commander Maxwell himself. They were the newest ships with the most powerful shields and energy weapons the Council could build. But Earth was ready. Commander Stone stood on the bridge of the upgraded EDS Defender, now the flagship of humanity's combined fleet. Next to Earth's ships floated vessels from 3 other worlds, allies who had secretly prepared for this day. All ships report ready, his tactical officer announced. Our allies are in position. The Council is broadcasting, the communications officer reported. Maxwell's face appeared on the main screen, his silver skin glowing with rage. This is your last chance. Surrender your weapons technology and submit to Council authority. Stone looked at the alien allies on his other screens. They nodded. Everyone knew what was at stake. No, Stone replied simply. You should leave while you can. Maxwell's laugh was cold. You face the Council's entire elite fleet. Your hybrid weapons won't save you this time. We've upgraded our shields. So have we, Stone said quietly, then cut the transmission. He opened a channel to all allied ships. Remember the plan. Let them make the first move. The Council fleet advanced, their new shields glowing brighter than ever. They had spent months modifying their technology, trying to counter Earth's hybrid weapons. But they still didn't understand. They had only defended against what they'd already seen. They're entering optimal range, Stone's tactical officer reported. Energy weapon signatures detected. Launch the first wave, Stone ordered. From Earth's fleet came a barrage of what looked like normal missiles. The Council ships didn't even try to dodge. Their new shields were designed to stop hybrid weapons. But these weren't the same weapons they'd faced before. The missiles split apart just before impact. While the Council shields caught the hybrid warheads, simple kinetic penetrators slipped through gaps in their shield coverage, gaps created by the power demands of their new defenses. Direct hits on 12 enemy vessels, Tactical reported. Their shield modifications made them vulnerable to basic attacks. The Council fleet returned fire, their energy weapons lighting up space. But Earth's allies had learned well. Their ships, equipped with both Council shields and Earth's point defense systems, weathered the assault. Second wave, Stone commanded. Show them what else is new. This time, the weapons were different. Using technology developed by Dr. Wright's team, they created temporary holes in the Council's shields, just long enough for specially designed projectiles to slip through. How? Maxwell's voice boomed across all channels. How are you penetrating our shields? You focused so much on stopping our old weapons, Stone replied, that you forgot we could make new ones. The battle turned into chaos. The Council fleet had trained to fight energy weapon battles at long range. They weren't prepared for Earth's mixed tactics, long-range hybrid weapons, medium-range kinetic strikes, and close-range combat using both technologies together. Stone watched as another Council ship erupted in flames. They never learned, he said quietly. They thought technology only moves in one direction. After an hour of combat, the Council fleet broke formation. Their perfect shields had failed. Their advanced energy weapons couldn't stop simple kinetic rounds. And Earth's hybrid weapons had evolved beyond their defenses. They're retreating, Tactical reported. 27 ships destroyed, 15 heavily damaged. The rest are jumping to hyperspace. Let them go, Stone ordered. They need to report what happened here. As the last Council ships fled, Stone received transmissions from Earth's allies. Their leaders were ecstatic. Together, they had proven that the Council wasn't invincible. Admiral Miller's face appeared on Stone's screen. Well done, Commander. The Council's best fleet, defeated by the combined tactics they despised. What happens now? Stone asked. Now, Miller replied, we help build something better than the Council. Something that doesn't fear new ideas or different approaches. Stone looked at the battlefield, where Earth ships worked with alien allies to rescue survivors from the damaged Council vessels. This was more than a victory. It was the end of the Council's technological tyranny. The Council had started this conflict by laughing at human weapons. Now, their laughter had been silenced by the very innovations they had tried to prevent. 1 year after the Great Battle, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The old crystal walls remained, but the seats were rearranged. No longer did larger worlds tower over smaller ones. Every species sat at the same level, including humanity's representatives. Dr. Helen Wright stood at the podium, presenting her latest research to the newly formed Technology Exchange Committee. Ambassador Reed sat nearby, along with representatives from 20 worlds. The key to progress isn't choosing between old and new technology, she explained. It's understanding how different approaches can work together. The chamber, once filled with arrogance and demands, now buzzed with genuine interest. Scientists from across the galaxy shared ideas, no longer bound by the Council's rigid rules about what technology was advanced enough. Earth's hybrid weapons showed us our mistake, said the new High Counselor, a former representative of a smaller world. We thought progress meant abandoning old technologies. Instead, it means building on what works. Reed smiled as he remembered the old Council's demands. They had ordered Earth to give up its primitive weapons. Now those same weapons, combined with alien technology, were protecting trade routes and colonies across the galaxy. The pirates have almost disappeared, Commander Stone reported from his new position as head of the Combined Defense Fleet. They can't predict what weapons they'll face anymore. Every world has its own combination of technologies. The changes went beyond military matters. Earth's approach to combining technologies had sparked a revolution in civilian life too. Smaller worlds could now afford better defenses. Trade flourished as ships combined human durability with alien speed. We're receiving another application for membership, Reed announced to the chamber. That makes 30 worlds this month. The new council was different from the old one. It didn't demand that worlds abandon their technology. Instead, it encouraged exchange and innovation. Earth's scientists worked with alien researchers, combining their knowledge in ways the old council had forbidden. Dr. Wright's team had grown. Now she led a multi-species research group, developing new technologies that merged different approaches. Every species has something to teach us, she told her colleagues. Every technology has value if you understand how to use it. In orbit above Earth, the Combined Defense Fleet showed how much had changed. Ships of different designs flew together, each incorporating lessons learned from others. Human kinetic weapons worked alongside alien energy beams. New shield designs used principles from both technologies. The old council would never have allowed this, Reed said during a private meeting with Admiral Miller. They were too afraid of losing control. Miller nodded. They thought forcing everyone to use the same technology would keep peace. Instead, it made the galaxy vulnerable. Reports came in from across space. Worlds that had once struggled under the old council's rules were thriving. They developed their own hybrid technologies, combining their traditional methods with new ideas from Earth and other allies. The pirates attacked one of our smallest colonies last week, Stone reported with a smile. They weren't expecting the defenders to have both energy shields and railguns. Didn't end well for the pirates. The old council members who had survived the war watched from the sidelines as their power structure crumbled. Some eventually joined the new order, admitting their mistakes. Others disappeared into deep space, clinging to their beliefs about technological superiority. We're detecting unusual energy readings from unexplored space, a sensor operator reported one day. Possibly a new species. Prepare a first contact team. Reed ordered. And remember the lessons we've learned. We don't demand they change their technology. We offer to share knowledge. As Earth's representatives prepared to meet another new species, Dr. Wright looked at the hybrid technology around her. The old council had feared Earth's primitive weapons. That fear had led them to attack, to try to force humanity to change. Instead, they had sparked a revolution that changed the galaxy. Ready for first contact? Reed asked her. Wright nodded, looking at her team of humans and aliens working together. Ready. Let's show them what different species can achieve when they work together instead of fearing each other. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. True advancement doesn't come from abandoning the old or forcing everyone to use the new. It comes from understanding that every approach has value, and that combining them can create something greater than the sum of its parts. The council had laughed at human guns. Now those guns had helped build a better future for everyone.